I have to tell you a story that happened yesterday in my office to prove that what I said last week is true. So a man came to me yesterday for tzedakah, who used to be a very rich man. He used to have a lot of money. And he lost everything in the market and real estate. And he doesn't have food. He doesn't have money to pay his mortgage. So he came to me yesterday for tzedakah. And he said, we good? He said, Rabbi Wallerstein, I want to tell you a crazy, amazing story that happened to me. I said, okay, I love stories. You give me a good story, I'll sell it. So he said, I have to tell you a crazy story. He said, last week, there's this man that comes to me every single year before Purim, and he has like 13 kids, and his house burnt down, and 2 of his kids are sick, and his wife is sick, and he doesn't have a job, and they're really starving. They really have no food. I've been to the house. So every year I give him $500 for Pesach Purim together, and Baruch Hashem, I've been doing that for 10 years. Well, he came to me last week, and I don't have $1. I don't even have $1 for my own kids. And he sat down, and I didn't have the heart not to give this man anything. I didn't have the heart. So I took out my checkbook, knowing that my checking account has absolutely no money in it, and I wrote a check for $100. Because I just couldn't say no. Sometimes you just can't say no. And, I just felt bad. And even the man said, $100, you used to give me $500. I told him, I don't have any money. And I gave him a check for $100. And he left. And then I thought to myself, I'm a Meshuggah. Where am I going to get $100? I don't have food. I don't have anything. Where am I going to get $100 to cover this check? I wrote a check that's going to bounce. He said, so I made up my mind that I'm going to go the following day, and I'm going to tell the bank manager that I wrote a check, and it may not be covered. She should please cover it for me, and that I never did anything like this before, and I'll get the $100 together within the next 3-4 days. He said, but I got busy, and it was 3 o'clock. The bank closed at 3 o'clock, and by the time I was ready to go to the bank, it was already 4 o'clock, and I couldn't go to the bank manager. He said, then I forgot about it. Totally forgot about it. He says, 3 days later, I'm like, oh my goodness, that check's going to bounce. I never went to the bank manager. I never told her to cover it. Oh my goodness, I got to go run to the bank. Maybe it didn't hit yet, but the guy was very poor. He probably put it in right away. So he runs to the bank, and he puts his ATM card in the machine, and the ATM card and the screen comes up. You have $214 in your account. It says $214 in my account. I have no money. How do I have $214 in my account? So he looks on the ATM machine, and it shows a deposit, miscellaneous deposit, $314. And then the $100 check hit, right? Didn't bounce because he had money in the account, and he had $214. He's like, this is crazy. This is a miracle. This is an ace. You write a check. It's not covered, right? And then Hashem covers it. It's like amazing. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't try it. So he goes to the bank manager. This guy came to my office to collect money. He told me, this is a story, he told me himself. He goes to the bank manager and he says, what's this miscellaneous $314 deposit in my account? Who put money in my account? And she said, I don't know. Let me look it up. And she looks it up, and she says, what are you talking about, Mr. So-and-so? You have a life insurance policy, and you get a premium, whatever, an interest, whatever, on your premium, and every year you seem to be getting somewhere, depending on the rate, $314 to $390. You've been getting this for years. So the $314 from the life insurance hit his account a couple of days before he wrote the check. He didn't realize, he didn't know. Before he even wrote the check, thinking that he's giving tzedakah he doesn't even have. Meanwhile, it was covered all the time by this life insurance policy premium, which he totally forgot. Now, why didn't he know that he's getting a $314 life insurance? Because this man was a multi-millionaire. And every year when he got his $314, it didn't mean anything to him. So he never thought about it. He had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in his account. So $314 didn't mean anything. So he totally forgot about it. He says, and I had $214 left, which is going to help me buy the things that I need for Purim, and I didn't even know that I was getting anything from this life insurance. So of course he came to me for money also, right? Because he needs more money, he needs Pesach money, whatever it is. I said, you see, what I told them last week is true. If you don't believe you don't have money, you have money. Now you're all sitting there like, this is a great story, you tell very good stories. I'm going to go out tomorrow, I'm going to write a check, and it's going to bounce from here to Shemayim. Right? Because you're only doing it because I told you the story. But he didn't have a story. beforehand. He didn't do it because I told the story. He did it because he felt very bad for this man, and he felt he had to give him money. There's a koyach, there's a strength and a power in a person's belief and a person's emunah. And Baruch Hashem, if a person really has emunah, it really comes through. Again, I know you all have questions in your head, and it's like a very nice story, but I had emunah about shidduchim, and I had emunah that my grandmother was going to live, and I had all this emunah, and it didn't happen. Depends on what your emunah is based on, depends on what your real emunah is. He wrote the check. That's real emunah. He wrote a check and he signed it. And he wanted to give this man the $100. And the funny thing is that it wasn't such a big deal because he really had $314, but he didn't know it. He didn't know it. So many of us probably have a lot of money that we don't know that's coming down the line, right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is already in they call it the kinor, in the pipe, on its way down from Shemayim.